everybody, it's me, Kelly. You know the drill. I'm with Kelly's Human Consulting, performance improvement consulting practice here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And this month, in the month of June, we're talking about human-centered leadership, different approaches to human-centered leadership and active listening and really building trust. I want to talk about leveraging mistakes to create learning opportunities. I actually, in my early career days, had a really good experience with this. One of my first work environments outside of college, getting my undergrad degree. And I was actually working for a newspaper in Arizona. At the time, I was in the classifieds department, and that department's job was to write the obituaries that were published in the newspaper. And you would think that this would be kind of a morbid job, but it actually was really interesting because you learned a lot about people and you just kind of got to connect with people on a different level. This woman had come in and her husband had passed away, and she had the obituary written out, and she also had the photo of him that was supposed to go with that. But the photo had a picture on both sides. It was kind of interesting. Like it was from a magazine or something. So it had his photo on one side and another photo of a woman on the other side. The process that we had at the time was to attach the photo to this order form that went upstairs to the editorial department, where they pulled everything together before it was sent back downstairs to the department that laid out the paper. We went through our normal process. The next day, it was my job to come in about 7:30. My friend, who happened to be the receptionist at the time, starts getting these phone calls. She gets this phone call from this lady who's laughing, but kind of distraught on the other end. And she says, "I saw my picture in the obituaries this morning and I thought I was dead." So my friend comes to me and she says, "I think we have a problem." So we start investigating, and then by this time, the lady whose husband had passed away comes in, and she's obviously distraught, and rightfully so, because what had happened is I had attached the photo to the order form, but when I sent it upstairs, I hadn't made sure that everything was secured, and they got disconnected from each other, and they ran the wrong photo with the gentleman's obituary. So it was the lady's photo with the gentleman's written obituary that ran in the newspaper. So imagine waking up and seeing your photo in the obituaries. And then imagine being that woman whose spouse had just passed away, who saw that this information wasn't put out correctly. So it was quite horrifying, and I was horrified, and I thought I was going to lose my job, and my boss was horrified. But it was very interesting because she didn't get mad. She actually came to me and said, "Okay, let's talk about what happened." So we did, and we went through the process of how we went from, putting together the obituary, the photos, sending everything upstairs. What's the whole process? Instead of saying something like, "Don't let this happen again," which there was an element of that, like, let's not let this happen again. But the element of surprise came when she said, "All right, let's figure out how to fix the process so this does not happen again." So she saw me as a human who had made a mistake. I think there's a good example of this in the book that was written by Ed Catmull, which is called Creativity Inc., which is about the startup and the development and the success of Pixar. And they used these groups called Brain Trust as an example. Well, at Pixar, they weren't an example, they were a real thing, but they were groups that came together to iterate on different sections of the movies that they were creating and to leverage mistakes into opportunities to make things better. I think that my boss at the time at this newspaper did that really well, although I don't think at the time I realized that that's what she was doing. Some things that I think are really valuable to leverage mistakes as opportunities when it comes to kind of leading from a human center is debrief sessions. Debrief sessions are really valuable. And that's what I did with my boss. She sat down and she said, "Okay, let's look at this big picture and figure out if there's anything that we can change to make it not happen again." As I mentioned, she didn't see me as a failure. She just saw me as somebody who made a mistake. But we were able to reframe this as a way to really look at it as a learning opportunity. What we did is we were better at drafting ads and having our colleagues kind of proofread and double check things before we sent things upstairs. We were kind of reframed our mindset to not think of that as, hey, I'm failing and I'm doing something wrong because someone has to check my work, but as in, hey, I'm looking at black and white text all day, and it's helpful to have somebody else look at my information for me. We were able to do that, as well as get more descriptive in the documentation that we sent to the editorial department, so that they had a clear understanding of what was supposed to happen as well. We were able to reframe these challenges and these mistakes into opportunities to really make our overall job better. I want to challenge you to think about how your team can leverage mistakes, can leverage challenges into different learning opportunities or opportunities to improve processes and systems. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share. Don't forget, visit us on the website, kellytinen.com, and you can find us on social media as well. And if you like this content, subscribe to our channel. Thanks so much.